Hello students, this video is the first in a series of videos about the data analysis project. This is the first in the series about Google Sheets. I'm going to tell you all about how to use Google Sheets, how to organize your data in it, how to change the formatting in it, and how to create new sheets in which you're going to put different sets of data that we're going to be using over the course of the project. Here's an example of a Google Sheet here. This is a sheet that has all of the data that we collected from the student survey. And if you recall, you took that student survey, it was 20 questions. Some of the questions were very straightforward and some were a little strange, but trust me, there's a reason for it. These are the results from 2021 in the spring semester, but they could be from anything or everything. Your results may vary. Anyway, I'm looking at these and there's some pretty straightforward pieces already in there. There's the timestamp, there is the respondent number, like person number one who responded, person number two, etc., how many siblings you have, etc. So all of these are just a collection of all of the information that I collected from that student survey. This sheet is called a spreadsheet. Microsoft Excel is an example of spreadsheet data. A spreadsheet is just a collection of data that organizes the data into rows and columns. All of these horizontal organizations are called rows, and all of these are columns. For example, this is column C, this is row 7, and this cell is cell C7 because it's where column C meets row 7. So this is cell C7. Similarly, this cell down here is cell I14. Always the column and the row will be highlighted so you can always tell where you're talking about, what cell we're talking about. One thing that you should notice is that we have a header row, a row in which all of the information is kept as to what the question is. However, if I scroll down a little bit, if I scroll down past row 11 or 12, I can't see that header row anymore. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to keep this header row on top. I'm going to go to View, go to Freeze, and click one row. In general, there's only one row that needs to stay on top. So now if I keep going downwards, I can still always see timestamp at the top. And I see that I'm at row 21, but timestamp is still at the top. Some more about the header row, which is the row at the very top. You can tell that the header row is kind of important. It tells you everything that's going to be in the rest of the column. So I want to show that it's important by making it bold. Now I can either press the B button here or press Control B. I think it's Command B on a Mac. I'm just going to do bold. And now you can see that all of the header row headers are going to be bolded. One annoying thing though is that the respondent column, or the respondent cell I should say here, has overflowed a little bit. It's respondent and then there's a T at the bottom. So there's a couple ways around this. One thing that you can do is grab the side of the column and click and hold with your mouse and drag it out. You can drag it out as far as you want. It resizes the column. However, I think that's a little big. To auto size this column so that it fits all of its contents, I'm going to click onto its boundary here. You can see the double-edged arrow. I'm actually going to double click, boom, boom. And you can see that it auto-sized it to respondent. I'm going to do the same thing with how many siblings do you have, boom, boom. It makes it automatically a little bit smaller. One other thing that you should notice is that all of these are questions. How many siblings do you have? What is your favorite flavor of ice cream? What's your intended major in college? However, what I want is to turn these into so-called variables. You remember from our lecture, you should remember that variable is an attribute that describes a person, place, thing, or idea. It's, other words, a label. And data is an individual piece of factual information recorded and used for the purpose of analysis. So for example, if the question is, how many siblings do you have? The variable is number of siblings. And the data is, well, for example, 2, because I have 2 siblings. So going back to the spreadsheet, instead of writing up here as the question, how many siblings do you have? I'd like to reflavor this. I'd like to relabel this as a variable. So I'm going to rewrite it as number of siblings. Notice I'm highlighted on the cell that I want to replace. I'm just going to start typing. Right now my number of siblings is the header of that row. And I can double click to automatically resize it, and I'm good to go. Notice that the number of siblings is going to be anywhere from 1 to 2 to 6 plus. So what I want to do is put these numbers into the middle of the column. So I'm going to click the alignment button, and I'm going to click the middle alignment. Now all of the numbers are nice and easy to see. They're in the middle. I also see some 6+s, which don't look like actual numbers to me, but that's okay. We're going to be cleaning up the data a little bit later. I'm not going to tell you what else to rename these, but I do want you on your own sheet to rename all of these questions as variables. So that's your first assignment, rename all of these questions as variables. For example, what is your favorite ice cream flavor? You could probably say favorite ice cream flavor, something like that. Instead of stating it as a question, state it as a sentence, rather a label. Now, one other thing that you should notice is that I've renamed this sheet to all data. When I send this sheet to you, it's going to just say sheet 1 here at the bottom, but I've renamed it to all data. How did I do that? Two options. One, double click. If I double click, it pops up the option to rename it. I could also click the arrow and click rename, and it allows me to rename it here. That's all data. I am going to ask you to make a couple of more sheets, and these sheets are going to be useful for us in the coming weeks. For example, during week 2, we're going to be looking at some data that is sorted into 6 different categories. So let's try to do that now. I'm going to click the plus button that says add sheet, and my new sheet, I'm going to rename it. Instead of naming it sheet number 1, sheet number 2, whatever, I'm going to rename it as week 2. Okay, now I'm going to put the data for week 2 in here. Which data? Good question. I'm going to go back to all data for a moment. During week 2, I'm going to show you how to take information from a spreadsheet like this, spreadsheet software like Google Sheets, and turn it into a graph or a diagram. So one of the nice pieces of information that I can take and put it into a graph or diagram is, what is your intended major in college? Look at all of these different majors. Amazing. We got some undecideds, we got some not sures, we got some teachings, we got some criminal justices, etc. You'll notice that none of them are exactly the same. Like we got 2 that are the same, we got 2 psychs, we got a couple of nursings, a couple of finances, but there are not too many repeats. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this column and copy it over to week 2. So take the whole column, highlighted the whole entire thing, and I'm going to either press Control C or Command C, or I could right click on it and go to copy. Then I'm going to go into week 2, and I'm going to copy it not into column A, but into column B, Control B. And I've copied it in here, so all of the majors are there. Great. Now I'm going to have to, of course, put my respondents in for column A. So go ahead and highlight column A. And I'm going to go back to all data for a moment. I'm going to go over to where the respondents are. I'm going to click on B to highlight all of the respondents, Control C or copy to copy that column. Go back over to week 2 and Control V, or you could also have right-clicked and press paste. One thing that you'll notice is that there's not a whole lot of similarity between these colleges, right? Like Bachelor of Science of Nursing doesn't look like anything else has that exact thing. We do have another nursing, but if I try to sort this row, well, I'm sorry, this column, it really wouldn't sort very effectively. So what I want to do is want to take this data and clean it up somehow. In other words, I want to try to categorize these in different fields of study. Don't worry, College Board's got you covered. You can see here the college majors by academic area of study. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go for each different major. I'm going to go to the college majors by academic area of study, and I'm going to look for that major. So remember that one was Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. I'm just going to do Control F. That's fine. I'm going to go for nursing, and I found where it says nursing. This lists nursing, nurse anesthetist, nuclear medical technology, all in the bolded category, which is health, professions, and related programs. So health, professions, and related programs is the category that I'm going to use for that one. So I'll rename this as category or field of study, whichever is your pleasure. I'm going to make it bold by clicking B. And remember, this cell was health. What was it? Health, professions, and related programs. Notice that it bleeds over into a couple other columns, but don't worry, you know how to take care of that. Highlight the column, double click over here. Boom. And we can do the same thing for nursing, so I'm going to copy this, bring it down to nursing. So there we go, we already got 2 of them categorized. Next we can go into business, so go to the college majors and find business. There's a couple of businesses here. Here's agricultural business, Here's business management, marketing, and related support services, horticultural business. It looks like one of them has business right there in the name, though. So business management, marketing, and related support services. Let's call this business management and marketing. You're going to continue down the list until you've categorized every single one. Easy peasy. Here's another hint. Business probably matches up with international business, right? Not that bad. There are a couple that are a little harder to categorize. For example, one of them said zoology or law. I would like you to just choose the first one, right? I'm assuming that the person listed zoology first because they were interested in that the most. And same thing here, business or dance, you're going to go with business. And of course, if it's business, it's going to be business management and marketing. Okay, we're going to skip back to the all data sheet. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up our data sheet for week 3. So for week 3, we're going to be dealing with data diagrams. So I'm going to ask you to do another add sheet and call this one week 3. And notice that now they're out of order here. There's all data, there's week 3 and week 2. So let's click and drag week 3. So it's over here, nice and orderly. And the thing that I want you to choose for week 3 is actually a combination of several different columns. So bear with me for a moment. Let's take the respondent column. Let's bring that over to week 3, just like what we did before, copy and paste. Going back to all data, I'm going to ask you to grab statistics anxiety. So that's the question that asks how anxious are you about taking the statistics class. I believe that was question, where is that? I got passed by it. Oh, here it is, question 12. So I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to go back to week 3 and put it there. I'll give you another hint here. For number 12, it's talking about statistics anxiety. Let's just name it statistics anxiety. Now, the question, if you recall, asks you to list your number from 1 to 100. Sometimes you'll have a respondent that thinks they're very clever, and that respondent might respond in a way that is over the top or like outside of the range. So I'm looking through, it looks like only one person was bold enough to do that. So if it was at a 1 to 100, I'm just going to call this one 100. See, I've cleaned my data. Also, I need to resize this so that it is a reasonable size. Double click to make it smaller. And last but not least, I'm going to put them into centralized columns so that we can see them a little bit better. Okay, so that's the statistics anxiety column. I'm also going to need commute time here. I want commute time to be right here. So going back to all data, I'm looking for the commute time. Let's see, where is that commute time? There it is. According to Google Maps, how long does it take you to get from your house to your school in the morning? So Control C to copy it. Going back to week 3, Control V to paste it. And we're going to call this commute time. Man, just giving you all the answers. Double click to resize and center. Need one more column in here. We're going to need apps. So going back to all data, looking for the apps that people use. So copying column R, of course referring it to its letter here, then going over to week 3, pasting it in. We're going to call this apps. And then I actually don't think we need to double click this. It looks like it's fair enough. It's okay that it's left justified, and it's okay that it's scrolled like this, that we can see them all wrapped around like that. Okay, so it seems like we're good to go with this sheet. There's still the problem of if I scroll past row 13 or 14, I lose my header row. So of course I'm going to go to View, Freeze, one row. Boom. Now I can scroll to my heart's content, and I'm never going to lose track of what the columns indicate. Perfect. 2 more sheets left. Please go back to all data. What I want to do now is collect 2 columns of data, and here's where you don't necessarily have to follow my exact pattern here. What I want you to do is select 2 columns of data with quantitative variables. Remember what quantitative variables are? Remember that quantitative data is numerical data. They represent a measurable quantity. So if the question is how many siblings do you have, then the data is quantitative. And if the question is what's your favorite flavor of ice cream, then the data is qualitative. Going back to the all data sheet, I can see that there's a lot of these answers that are quantitative: number of siblings, age, number of people that you texted, how long it takes you to get from your house to school. If you wanted to separate out the scores and the topics, or the scores and the subjects, you could do it for question 7. You could do it for question 9, question 10, etc. Okay, but what you need to do is pick 2 categories or 2 variables that you believe are related to each other. You can pick the 2 that I'm going to choose, or you can pick any other 2 that you want. One thing that I am going to test this time around is what the relationship is between a person's age and their ability to guess somebody else's age. So I'm going to choose column M and also column F. So the first thing I'm going to do is copy over a respondent column. I'm going to Control C this. And of course, I don't have a week 4 sheet down here, so I'm going to create a week 4 sheet. This is going to be turned into week 4. And move it over so it's in the correct order. And then I'm going to paste over respondents right here. Then I'm going to go to how old are you? And I'm going to copy that over to week 4. And making sure to highlight the correct cell. I'm highlighting V1, pressing Control V to paste it. Now, incidentally, let's say you make a mistake. Let's say you were supposed to paste it in there, but you accidentally pasted it in here. Oh no. Anytime you're doing anything on Google Sheets and you make one mistake, you can automatically go back 1 step. You can actually go back several steps, but the easiest way to go back 1 step is to go to Edit, Undo, right? If you make a mistake also, if you're going through the data and you accidentally press the delete button, oh no, I lost a number. You can undo that as well. I'm going to do Control Z to undo. You can also use Command Z on a Mac. Okay, I'm going to rename this to age and make this fit. Then I'm going to go over to the guesses from all data that was in column M. And remember to not just highlight this cell, but click on the letter M to highlight the entire column. Copy and paste. And remember, it says guess the age of your teacher. I'm just going to put guess age of teacher, or guessed age of teacher, I should say. I can resize this and make it just about the same size, and then put it in the center so it looks nice. Later on in the course, I'm going to be trying to help you figure out whether there's a relationship between your age and your ability to guess somebody else's age, but that's for another time. The last sheet that we have to make is called a focus group. Now, I understand that you as a person are probably represented pretty closely by one of these rows, right? You could be somebody who loves chocolate, who has an intended major in College of Business. What you're going to do is you're going to select 5 of your classmates that are similar to you in some way. And you have 3 different ways, oh, I'm sorry, 4 different ways in order to tell whether you're similar to those people. So you might want to choose 5 people that have the same flavor of ice cream as their favorite. So for example, let's say I was a person that liked cookies and cream. I would be able to choose this student who likes cookies and cream, this one, that's 2, this one, that's 3, this one, that's 4, and this one, that's 5. Doesn't matter which 5 you choose, you can choose any 5, but you're going to put them all into a focus group, which means, that's right, we need one more sheet. We're going to bring the sheet to the other side. We're going to call this one focus group. This is a group of people that share your same characteristics. So let's say I was doing the cookies and cream one. First, I'm going to bring the header, the entire header. I selected row 1, copying that, bringing it over to focus group, and pasting that. So here are all my headers in the correct place. By now, you should have renamed all of these as the correct variables, so you won't have an ugly header row like this. But I haven't done that yet because I didn't want to give you all the answers, so be it. Now I'm going to put my 5 focus group members here. I'm going to have to bring them over one at a time. So go back to all data. I'm going to pick this person because they share my cookies and cream habit. Boom. Undo it another time here. cookies and cream. Boom. Now you might be thinking to yourself, what happens if I can't find anyone else that has my same favorite flavor of ice cream? That's okay. I got you. Instead of using flavors of ice cream, another way that you can make your focus group is siblings. So let's say I have 3 siblings. I'm going to go through and see if I can find 5 people for my focus group. Looks like very few people have 3 siblings. I got this person, I got this person, I got this person. And let's say for argument's sake, there's 2 more. There aren't, but let's say for argument's sake there is. Then I can make my focus group based on age. I'm sorry, not number of siblings. So copy this, bring it over to focus group, and paste. And then I can keep going. Remember, I need 5 people for my focus group. If ice cream flavor doesn't do it for you and number of siblings doesn't do it for you, I will allow you to do same middle school. So for example, let's say you went to Russell Sage. You can pick 5 people that went to Russell Sage as well. So here's one, here is another. You have to sort of sort through because people either said Russell Sage or Russell Sage JHS 190, but whatever's your pleasure, just sort through and find 5 people that have your same middle school. And if all else fails, if you can't find people with the same number of siblings, the same flavor of ice cream, or the same middle school, you can choose people that were born during the same season. So let's say I was born in the summer, which I was. I'm going to pick 5 students that have summer. Now I'm looking at this summer column, and one nice thing is if I want to grab this person, I don't know who it is, but I know they're summer. I'm going to click on the 3. And notice that it selects all of the stuff in that column. I'm going to press Control C, and then going over to focus group, I'm going to start from the left-hand column, and press Control V, it gives me everything that I want, right? I can pick another summer person by going back to all data, going down to summer. Remember clicking that number, not where it says summer, Control C, and then Control V. Look at that. And notice that chocolate and cookies and cream, they don't match up. Number of siblings 1 and 6 plus, they don't match up, but they are matching up down here where it says the season. These are all summer babies, right? I'll leave it up to you to determine what you want to make it. But once you're done with making your focus group, you need to tell me what you've made. So double click on where it says focus group. Let's say for argument's sake, we were working on summer, right? We selected all people that had summer birthdays. I'm going to put in focus group, parentheses, season. If you selected people with the same ice cream flavor, you're going to write flavor. If you selected people in the same middle school, you're going to write school. And if you selected people with all the same number of siblings as you, you're going to write, that's it, siblings. Perfect. Whatever the case is, whatever the case may be, once you select your 5 people for your focus group, you are done. Nice job. Once you're done with this, you're going to rename it as your own sheet. So what are you going to do? Go up to the top here where it says MAT120 student survey results, blah, 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 blah. You're going to rename it in this way. I clicked once to highlight the name. MAT120 stays. Student survey results stays. You're going to highlight everything else and delete it. And you're going to name it with your last name. So in my case, I'm going to write Scoredean. If your last name happens to be Smith, you're going to rename it as Smith. Press enter and you're good to go. All right, this was the video for the data analysis project number 1. This was all about how to use Google Sheets. It was a general overview. We're going to get really specific in terms of what formulas you can use and what ways we can really make Google Sheets work for us. But for right now, that's enough. All right, folks, good luck studying.